and on the college level. I want to start with James Franklin a little bit, like, and even Sark. I saw Sark this morning, his comments from yesterday, right? Like, I think in college football, these coaches are starting to, they're absolutely flummoxed. Okay. And here's what I mean. Back in the day, there would be a scandal or something will go wrong or a player would screw up, right? And let's keep it X's and O's. A player would just screw up. Maybe he'd be X's and O's enough that we'll say this. Like maybe he's late for a meeting on game day, or maybe he misses curfew the night before game day. So he's going to play, but he can't play all the way. And you really can't tell the media exactly what happened because you don't want to let them inside your team like that. Or a guy just blows a few coverages and plays like crap because he wasn't prepared. And and this steps into the new arena we're in now, if you're James Franklin or if you're Sark, like they didn't play well because they don't give a shit. Right? Like more than ever now. Okay. Like the vested interest by players into their program is not as powerful and as strong, right, as it used to be. So, and I can tell you, like, nobody has told me anything. I'm not sharing with you anything I'm not supposed to be sharing, but like we have the opportunity when we call college football games to meet with these coaches before games, basketball and football. Okay. And I've heard a lot of stuff and a lot of like, look, the coaches understand that they're being paid so much money that this is now part of their job description. And some have done a much better job of like reckoning with it than others have. And I think we're going to start to see more of like what James Franklin said. And the reason the Franklin thing got put on my radar, keeping it 100, right, as they say, is that McShay called him on the carpet. And McShay was saying, this is, I was actually like scrolling through. I saw Todd. I stopped and I was reading it because my sound was off. But basically, Todd was like, he totally put this loss on the players post game, like after the game at UCLA. And I think that these coaches are holding on to more behind the scenes information that would blow a fan's mind right now, more so than they ever have been. I truly believe that, like, the behavior is such. And I'm not saying these kids or young men are outlaws. I'm just saying the environment has changed so much and the players have so much more power now that they used to, that coaches are like, first of all, why am I going to protect a guy that's going to go leave my school and go play somewhere else? Okay. I'm the face out here. Like, this is me. I'm just giving you like a school of thought that probably will at least go through my mind, right? Like, why am I going to sit here and be accountable and take all the blame? Because I know that's what I'm supposed to do, but it's getting increasingly difficult when I have guys that will only play for a certain amount of money. I have guys that I know at any moment, when given the opportunity, they will leave the program if they're not playing enough or it's not up to what they felt their experience was going to be. It doesn't take much now for a guy to say, I'm going to bounce, right? And that's not everybody, but it's a large group of the players now. And so coaches, I think, sit in front of the media and they're like, why am I going to take this? Why is this going to be on me, James Franklin? Because these guys like aren't doing their jobs. They're not responding. They're not showing up. They know that they have enough money. The checks are still going to clear. Like the punishment of, hey, you got to wake up early and do a mat drill with the strength coach is no longer sufficient, dude. It's like, I'm not going to that mat drill. Like, my contract says I don't have to go to mat drills. And then, my contract also says I get paid on the 1st and 15th. So let's make it happen. Like, I will tell you that stuff is going on. And maybe not that pronounced in every program, but there have been conversations like that. And I can promise there are vibes like that all over the country. So I'm not trying to give, particularly in this case, James Franklin, I'm not trying to give him like an out, but I do think that there should be more of an understanding by the college football fan as quickly as we jump on these coaches for if we can sniff a guy not being accountable, we pounce, dude. we pounce. And I think that this is just a different day and age more often that I believe these coaches are looking around. Some of them looking around and talking to one another, being like, what the what? And honestly, I don't even think I'm doing the best job of describing it because I can't, because some of the stuff that I've heard is like, I'm just not supposed to share it. And that's kind of the way it is. But I'll let you know, like, it's kind of crazy. Like it's kind of crazy. So just, that should be something that we all keep in mind. When we pile on these coaches after losses, because we feel like they may be kind of, over there, it's kind of weird. And I think you see it too. I think it's harder now at the more powerful programs. Like, watching Feinbaum this morning. Oh, back on ESPN, by the way, which is like, that whole thing was wild. But watching Feinbaum this morning, he made a pretty good point where he said, Texas is a team that could make the college football playoff with 3 losses. Like, they're one of the only teams in the country that could pull that off. They already have 2. And the pressure that Steve Sarkisian and any coach at a huge school like that is under, but the high profile athletes you are working with that command, the most dollars of college athletes, men's football, men's basketball, folks, like, surprise, surprise, that's who's commanding the most money. It's not going to change. But with that money and with those, high profile, big ticket items that we see these players as, and now they see themselves as it. Remember, Chris, this is so important to remember. Chris Webber who's trying to rub 2 nickels together in his pocket when he's at Michigan at certain points, and maybe that's exaggerated, but the Fab Five book by Mitch Albom was amazing, and I'm kind of pulling it from there. So this is sourced. Chris Webber is looking at jerseys with his name on it in the Michigan bookstore selling for $100 a pop in 1990, and this guy doesn't have enough money for a pizza. Like, that was a huge kick in the nuts for those guys. And with that school of thought or mindset, I mean, it didn't come always with a yes sir, no sir, to, like, in Weber's case, a Steve Fisher, but it certainly came with, I know where I stand in this whole chain of command, right? And in this whole power structure. Now it's totally different. And guys are going for theirs. And in going for theirs, they're doing stuff that players have never done before. So that is something I think we all need to keep in mind when we climb on these coaches. Even when we climb on their, I know, I'm not trying to give coaches excuses. I'm just talking about how much different it is, right? It is so much different today. So even like from the X's and O's situation, like, you're just not able to coach these guys up like you used to be. But it's the climate, right? And you've got to adjust or you got to beat it. I mean, that's the truth at the end of the day. But I do think I'm a little more empathetic to some of these coaches when they stand out there with all their, and again, it's all relative, right? Like, yeah, James Franklin's buyout at Penn State is like $38 million. Like, that's insanity. It's insane for me and Scotty and the guy working down the street at the CVS stocking the shelves, that $36 million is what you're going to have to pay this punk James Franklin to beat it, right, in Happy Valley. But like, that's the world we live in. And again, it's supply and demand, right? Like, that program commands that type of money. So that's what they pay the person who leads it. But it's still crazy. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I got a couple more points to make. We're going to tap into the NFL. And then we're going to talk to legendary writer Gary Myers about his new book coming out, Brady and Belichick. Stay with us.